You know how you go to the barber shop and they wash your hair? And yesterday that was the moment I was in. The best part is we were talking about this book with my barber called Man Searching for Meaning. It's the book that has been created by this guy, Viktor Frank or something like that. He basically lives through a concentration camp and then wrote a book about hope and psychology. And the best part is, that's what touched me the most, is that 1945, that was the year he got out. That is 80 years ago, and there were still concentration camps. Think about it, it's not so far away. 80 years ago, what is that? Like, that's my age of my granny. It kind of strikes me, this difference of me talking about concentration camps while this guy washing my hair, me laying down, chilled position, thinking that 80 years ago those people were stranded to death. Those people were not fed enough. They were killed in the worst conditions. Today I wanted to touch on the mindset of the view of the world I had. And I think I changed it, by the way. You can see here, it says core, my core beliefs, love and positivism, which is kind of like very cliche, but I'm a Christian, so that's one of my values. And today I wanted to specifically question this one, being positive, because that's what I've learned. There is another book, Be Your Future Self, and it talks about the difference between positivism versus hope, between being positive versus being hopeful of something. And so it defines hope as three things. First of all, it's a plan of action. Second of all, it's a path that you're gonna take. And third of all, it's an action. Thinking positively is just about thinking. It doesn't really change the way you action. It's your worldview versus your worldview plus the behavior. And that's how you define hope. Now the thumbnail is very funny in this video. If you know, this is like a rat race video called Happiness on YouTube. It got 56 million views. If you see the world this way instead of just thinking positively and staying in the same position, this is like my mother's biggest objection. I'm telling her, come on, think positively, don't be negative, because she watches news. There's a bunch of stuff in news that are negative. Generally news are negative because this what captivates attention, that's what draws people attention to this specific topic, negative shit. She says if you stay in the same position but you think that you are very confident and successful, you aren't. And I truthfully agree with her. That's why being hopeful is taking action. And that reframe shows me that I'm in the control of my future, which defines my present. Last thing I wanted to touch on was once again revolutionary point for me, business ideas. On its own, business ideas are worthless. Imagine a Starbucks creator would go on the street and would promote his business idea, would start screaming about how cool it would be to make nice coffee for young white women that is very tasteful and sweet, and not the women coffee. Nobody would invest into this business because are already existing. Like, why wouldn't you go to normal restaurant? But when he became successful, when the business became successful, that's when investors got in. That's where people started to be interested in his product, in his business in general. On its own, it has no value. Yes, it's a 50% of success. That's what my barber told me. I was telling him the same exact thing. If you don't have a business idea and you want to start a business, on its own, 50% are dependent on the idea. If you start a shitty business, it probably won't make you money. But if we isolate the idea just to the idea without taking action, which is thinking positively, it's worthless. Taking action and having pathway to follow through the idea, which is plan in the first place. It is how you create hope for yourself. It is how you see the world, because it's only positive. It's mature, and I think it's not just a delusion, it's the way. To include the actionable step that I and you can do, let's do an accountability thing. I have a note regarding my goals, and I didn't check it in the last 3 months. So the actionable step is to check your notes, to identify the plan. Maybe you don't have goals at all. Like, set the goals, plan the goals, identify the pathway, which is how you're gonna complete them. So before you start with how, think about why. Why is that I want to make money? Well, because it helps me to help other people, helps my business, it helps how can I help others without helping myself first, right? This kind of If you want a six-pack, just kind of how do I get a six-pack? Before that, ask yourself, why do I want a six-pack? Well, I want girls to like me. Cool. Now you have the plan and the idea why, so you can track it. Now you have the goal, the how you gonna do it? Well, I'm gonna go to the gym and exercise core. And then action, you're just going to the gym. And then you have hope that you would create a six-pack. Imagine you would go to the gym and you wouldn't have hope that you would grow muscles. Nobody would go to the gym that way. So I think that's how people operate. And this is a very powerful mindset. I want to thank you here for still watching this video. It's in black and white and you're watching it. What? Do you understand the difference? There is no colors. There is no dopamine at all in this video. There's me sitting. No edits. You are true learner. You are a guy I want to have on this channel. The reason you are different, you are thinking about your future self now, about delayed gratification. So you delay the pleasure for later instead of for now, and then sacrificing yourself in the future. And that's very smart. That's what gives you hope. That's what gives you meaning. Follow that and never stop.